Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to another session of GunnerKing's Court. We've got quite a few stories to discuss with you guys today. My guest today is Gumza, obviously part of the Armoury TV. What's going on, Gums?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. I've been quiet this week in terms of keeping an eye on things, to be fair. But yeah, let's see what you've brought to the table and we'll discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I still think like the Euros, the Copa America, certain tournaments still being in place. Holiday is going to be slowing things up. But yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely stuff in the oven. You can definitely see that's happening. I'm reasonably happy with what's going on so far. And I reckon that, we're definitely coming close to completion with a few transfers. So, yeah, I mean, the first one that I really wanted to look at today would be, it's looking like Nuno Tavares, his medical's booked in, according to reports. He is in London, apparently quarantining before the medical can take place. And look, we can expect that to slow things down as well. The impact of COVID, having to quarantine from coming from countries in the red zone. Look, I fully expect that transfer to be done. What are your thoughts, Gums?
Yeah. Again, I've been looking at this every day, jumping on internet and having a look. Has it been done? Again, this week I thought, actually, let me just take a day off from it. And when I see it, and I'll be happy when it's done. Exciting prospect. I haven't seen much of him. I'd be lying if I said I did. But again, I think it's just a statement of intent for where we're heading, which is what we've been asking for. It's a clear direction and pathway. Do you know what I mean? Too many times we are heading in this direction and then we sign David Luiz, which throws us back. And then we're going in this direction again and then we sign Willian. Do you know what I mean? So this one is, I think, a correct sign-in. He hasn't got to come in straight away and hit it off because we all know Kieran Tierney is going to be our first choice left back. But when he does, he'll play, obviously, hopefully he'll play Carling Cup or League Cup, whatever it's called now. Carabao, that's the one, isn't it? Yeah, he'll get some games in there. Depending on our FA Cup draw, he'll get some games there. Yeah. And if Tierney stays fit, obviously, I don't think we're seeing much in the league. However, it could be a possibility when you're winning 1-0. He's more of an attacking left back. So do you remember the days where, like, I can't remember who it was. It's like Monreal and it might have been before him. Kieran Gibbs and Armand Traore.
Monreal.
Do you remember we used to play like a left back as a left winger just to see the game out? So there could be times where the game's tight. We might be winning 1-0 and you might see him come on left wing just to add a bit more defensive stability. But obviously he's meant to be pretty good going forward. So yeah, I think we will see a bit of him. But at the same time, I'm expecting him to kind of just be in and around the squad and learning from the guys in front, with the plan of next season, if we're back in Europe here, then get more minutes. So, but again, he might come in and start off on fire, a bit like a Guendouzi and Martinelli, where actually they're knocking on the door straight away. And that's best case scenario. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy. It's a statement of intent for me about the type of signings we're making, which is a positive.
Yeah, and I think that I think also it's good to see you here, James, as well. We may discuss Lokonga in a bit, but I think in terms of what you mentioned there about him going on the left wing, another option that might give you is bringing him on if we've started with a back four and the game's tight, bringing him on as the left back, and then Tierney reverting into the third centre back role.
Yeah,
it gives us tactical fluidity. I think he's young. He can grow into that role. Much more of an attacking fullback. It would seem. I've not watched a great deal of him. But yeah, from the clips that I've seen, he's definitely got a very, very good cross on him. Good distribution from the wide areas in the final third. He looks like he's got a bit of a shot on him as well. I just think, look, it's good to have backup there in a position that's been a problem one for us. And I think the profile of him being young, with a ceiling to grow into, I prefer this a lot more than your Bertrands or your your the Van Aanholt option of Crystal Palace as well. I think the wages are going to be smaller. Overall, it's going to be cheaper. I think longer term, that's better for the club.
And there's a sell-on value as well. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of the times we sign players and they haven't got that sell-on. We're going through it now with Lacazette. We're talking about a 50 million striker who we brought a few years ago, regardless of what your thoughts are on him. But the talk is if we sell this year, he's got 1 year left. If we sell, we're looking at maybe 20 mil. They talk about selling to France, and notoriously French teams haven't got much money at the moment. So he's probably talking 15 mil with maybe 5 mil. And yes, it's not about making money all the time, but actually if you look at those kind of players, they're not going to bring you a profit later on. And if you, again, Lacazette hasn't been the greatest of Arsenal striker. So it's not even like you've had, just say, an Alexis where he exceeded all expectations. You could think, even if I sell him for cheaper, actually what we got out of the player far outweighs what we paid. Whereas Lacazette, I don't feel we've really got the 50 million out of him in terms of goals and his performance. And then we're actually going to lose money on the back end. It hurts more. Whereas, do you know what I mean? If he come and hit unbelievable numbers, if you lost him for cheap, but like I say, Armoury, we didn't get top money for Armoury, but for what he did for our club, to us, we don't care about what we sold him for. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think this really does change the philosophy where actually we should be making money on players going forward rather than kind of losing money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just going by the ethos of youth is the way forward for Arsenal at the moment. I think going back to, our history, our DNA, where we've had, sort of our most successful periods have been from integrating youth, either from our academy or from the best up and coming youth talents available on the market. I've been speaking to a lot of United fans today, on my TikTok, one of them, quoting Goldbridge saying Arsenal aren't a big club anymore, this, that, and the other. Bunch of rubbish in my eyes. But basically one guy, who I do respect, kind of said, well, Arsenal can't attract the same players that we can or other bigger English clubs can, at the moment, or other better clubs, in England can at the moment. So I think the best caveat to that is to just go back to what we used to do, which is raid small for their best youth prospects, and basically give them a platform, to grow on. If we've got to move someone to then bring in more star quality in the future, then that's what we got to do. But I think we should go back to that. And I think that ties into the next story that we want to talk about. And obviously this is now breaking. It's got the Fabrizio Romano seal of approval. Here we go. Guys.
Here we go.
Yeah. And I've been watching his new Twitch streams quite a bit as well the past few days. So yeah, this is breaking news. Just tweeted out. Albert Sambi Lokonga to Arsenal. Here we go soon. The agreement is set to be completed. I believe the 17.5 million fee is agreed. It's just how it's structured. The final details to be worked out and paperwork and personal terms should be agreed. And it's looking like that.
It sounds like they've been agreed from a while ago, to be fair.
Yeah, they've been agreed until 2026. No medical scheduled yet. And as I mentioned, that's probably going to be an issue unless we get someone out there. But even at that, if someone's got to fly out there, and if I'm not sure about what the rules are with Belgium, quarantine in that situation. But yeah, if you compare that to the Tavares situation, Tavares having to quarantine before he has his medical, I'd expect that to be the only thing that holds up the announcement. And look, the new kit launch is coming. And I've maintained, I reckon what this board want to do to get the fans on board is to make multiple announcements at the same time. So I think what we're looking at is a new kit launch, an ESR contract extension. They've already announced Tierney, Tavares, and Lokonga to be announced all at the same time with the kit launch. Like to maybe even have them being unveiled as part of that kit launch. I mean, if I was trying to get fans back on board, That's the kind of stunt I'd be pulling.
Yeah, you got to, yeah.
And look,
our board is good at it.
It doesn't make up for the situation, but at least, you know, there's a bit of clamour to be had there, you know. So, you know,
it really
going through the comments here as well. I mean, Gums, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think we've kind of known for a little while this one's due to be done. I do think there was terms of just sorting out the final details. One thing we know with Arsenal, we're never gonna overspend or just do it to get it done. We are gonna always try and haggle on that 2-3 mil here and pay it this way and pay it that way. So things will take a little longer. I do think we have to be mindful of COVID as well. Because again, like you're seeing with Tavares, where he might have to lock down for 5 days, but equally, that shows you why transfer business has got to be done early this year. You can't afford to leave that until last couple of weeks of the transfer window or a week before the season starts. Say you're going to bring this player in, and then all of a sudden he has to go in lockdown for 7 days because he's coming from a red zone country, or Boris just changes the rules. This would be Arsenal luck, ain't it? Like, we got a player coming in from France or somewhere, and then Boris says, actually, France is red. And then now that person's got isolated for a week. So actually, looking like to get the Tavares deal done early is a good move. I think Lukongo, from what I've seen of him, from what I've heard firsthand of someone who's played against him, he's probably going to be a hell of a player. And again, I like to go back to some of our better players when we signed. Yes, we signed players who were known, who have been good, but we've also signed a lot of players who were under the radar, who turned out to be absolute monsters for us. And there, you know, I mean, we can go on forever about your Vieiras. He wasn't known before we signed him. Armoury was known, but wasn't expected to do what he done in the Arsenal shirt. Petit wasn't very known outside of France. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot. Colo Torre, Lauren. We can go on for ages about some of these players who we signed under the radar for a cheap price. So, okay, back to what you're saying about some of the United fans about shopping in them higher echelons of player. To be honest, I think that comes with a lot of risk, and also a lot of big transfers have moved in the last 5 years and haven't lived up to expectations. Not saying Sancho's going to be one of them, but you look at Eden Hazard. He struggled. Philip Coutinho, he struggled. Ousmane Dembele struggled. Griezmann struggled. And then you have Luis Suarez, who leaves Barca on a free and goes and wins the league with Atletico Madrid and was one of the key reasons. So sometimes De Ligt's another one, big signing, hasn't really hit it off at Juventus. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot of players who have gone for a lot of money. We can even say Harry Maguire, yes, he's made Man United better defensively, but even that, I don't think he's won a trophy since he's arrived at United. Maybe... No, he weren't there when Jose was there, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, so do you know what I mean? So that's an 80 million centre-back, and he hasn't won anything with you. So, like, these big signings come with a risk as well. There's no right or wrong way, actually.
Mentioned here as well.
I think Werner's done all right. He just doesn't finish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But I think Werner brings a lot to Chelsea.
9 goals and 11 assists, I believe.
Yeah, I think with Werner though, I think he's a bit like. I think Werner's going to be a bit like Drogba, where actually his numbers aren't going to be the greatest, but the players who play with him say he's unbelievable, and he runs channels. He does the ugly stuff no one don't want to do, and he allows your Mason Mount and Havertz. And again, they've probably got a structure rather than him scoring 30. If he just gets 10, but we get 10 from Mount, 10 from Havertz, 10 from Pulisic. It's a collective, a bit like Liverpool. Firmino's not in there to score the goals. He's there to provide for the others. So I do agree Werner hasn't been great for what they spent on him. But yeah, again, I like the Pogba shout. Lacazette struggles a bit. Di Maria really struggled at United. List can go on for ages. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's about... Go on.
No, sorry. I just wanted to quickly say, I just wanted to go to this comment quickly. Just before you continue, love the Stubbs up show last night. Can we get a shout out for the Man United agenda? Munzi, respect to you, respect to the Man United agenda. Love what they're doing. It was a great show yesterday. Obviously, it got a bit heated, but yeah, it's all love. You know,
I do love the United agenda guys. They're real banter. To be fair to them, they're good guys, man. Even though they support that club, but they made us feel welcome. And I haven't forgotten that piece of artwork they produced at the end as well. Like, they're schooling us. I remember that. I'm coming for them. I'm coming for them.
Absolutely, but yeah, no, it was good to be on. I think the combined 11 we finally agreed on looked class. Solo, good evening as well. We've got a few more listeners here. Wow.
Yeah,
Hello
you pronounce that. Kids watch anime.
Yeah, I think I know who this is. I think this is a Chelsea fan. Yeah. Oh, Joker, mate. Focus on getting Haaland, because now I'm hearing that you've gone from Haaland to targeting Danny Ings from Southampton.
Ooh.
So, if I speak. Another comment I wanted to come back to very quickly, just before we move on. The third most successful club in England, the most successful in London, the 8th richest club in the world, apparently have never been a big club. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy.
Do you know what?
Believe you.
Do you know what? Sometimes I sit silently and let people talk, but sometimes there's going to be a day where I start bringing some fire. And again, Arsenal are going through that transition, and a lot of teams have been there before us. So I think for Arsenal fans, we've got to just take it on the chin, be patient, but we will be back soon. We're not far off them teams, and to be fair, we've been bad. Like, since Fergie's left, I think Man United finished above Arsenal 3 times since then, and Arsenal been bad for a hot minute. So these guys are only just getting to where they need to be, and I still think United are a far, far way away from Liverpool and United. I think Liverpool, not United, City. I think United only got second on a default because Chelsea and Liverpool had bad seasons. I expect them to be fighting for 4th next year with the likes of Arsenal and Leicester. I don't think the Paxton Road guys are anywhere near us next year. I think they're in for a long season. But I said we start our talking next season. I think we just sit here, we take it on the chin this year. You know what I mean? They finally can get a few bits over us.
I'm not saying anything about next season until the end of the window. See who we've got, and see how our season starts. We've got tough games to start with. So I think I'm just going to just keep it PC until then. I think the players that we've been linked with are the right ones, which is a step in the right direction. I think we've really got to kind of see where that takes us. The thing is, look, they're talking about bringing in 5 or 6 new players and getting rid of 5 or 6 new players. Now, look, Chelsea did the same thing last season, and look how their season started. And they brought in quality players,
big names, big names.
It's hard to just expect people to come into a new country for many of these players, a new style of play. The cultural nuances of how football is played in England. The pace, the intensity, to just be able to hit the ground running. It doesn't work like that. We need to be realistic. And I was watching a few other guys discussing, about what they expect of Arsenal next season. And a few people just saying, well, it should be top 4 because Arteta is getting his players. And I'm not sure I buy into that, because it is a huge expectation for players to just be able to do these things, to just be able to come in and settle to the pace and hit the ground running and start performing. And consider how the other teams are going to strengthen as well.
That was what I was going to say. It's all fair and well. And again, I think people look back 6 years where qualifying for top 4 was pretty much a dead cert for Arsenal and Man United. Like, there was a period where even in your worst of seasons, you're coming top 4 regardless. Whereas now, as I said, you could have a great season and still end up 5th. Do you know what I mean? Look at Leicester, for instance. They've had 2 really good seasons for them and have been pipped to 4th place 2 years in a row. So we have to look, and this is where I think Arteta or Edu or even if it's Kroenke need to come out and say a little something about what the progress and the plan is, because it's very easy to say we should be getting top 4 next year, but actually come out and say this is just starting the building block. It's a 3-year project where, yes, we might not get to the Champions League next year, but with these players in place, the year after, we should be aiming for that. Right? Do you know what I mean? Addressing the whole squad. We're getting rid of the rubbish, or do you know what I mean? Cutting the fat off. We're refining it, and we're going to build from there. So again, it gives you a bit of a purpose. We all look at Leicester, and we all can see what's happening there, and we understand it, and it makes sense. Liverpool's the same. Do you know what I mean? It's taken them a while to get where they are, and all of a sudden it's just clicked. But actually, they started putting the wheels in motion about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's now come to fruition. Do you know what I mean? Even Man City is the same. Man City has been a building block. They done the quick fix with Yaya Toures and them guys, and then they started to refresh it with younger players. We thought when they lost Silva and those guys, it was going to fall apart, but actually they've done it in a way where they're now sustainable. So
it wasn't just the players either; it's the whole culture, right? And this is, you know, again, you know, like shout out to Jess, by the way. I love her content. You know, she had a few guys on there, you know, that I really admire their content. George, you know, the likes of Harry, GunnerKing's, these guys. Really interesting show. Jumped off my stream and was watching that show, and you know, it's a whole culture change as well that we're looking at, right? Because, you know, I think, and this is why I think with the Guendouzi transfer situation, this is why I kind of harp on, like, with, you know, and he's gone out today, you know, obviously.
It's sad. I wanted to cry when I saw his video.
You know, look, he's got, like, confirmed to Marseille. I don't think we've got a thumbnail for that, but, you know, look, it's not down to his talent. We need to change the mindset, you know, of the club. You know,
and I'm with that.
Send that message out to the other players, and you know, and it's, you know, when you're changing the culture, it's not just in the playing personnel, it's the backroom staff, it's the boardroom. You know, it's the way that the whole club is run from top to bottom, and we are seeing a lot of changes in all of these departments. You know, like with Lee and Garlic. You know, obviously handling contract negotiations and transfer negotiations now, taking that away from Edu and Arteta, so Edu can just focus on the technical
players,
you know, from the perspective of the players, rather than all of the stuff that comes after that, which he has no real expertise in. You know, it's the coaching staff. You know, we've obviously made some changes there. Unfortunately, let Bold go amongst a few others, looking to freshen up the coaching staff, the scouting staff, you know, so it's wholesale changes. You know, it's not just dependent on these new players. And I just want to urge Arsenal fans to have a little bit of caution, a bit of patience.
You know, like, have a bit of patience with it. And again, like you're saying, we need the messaging from
he's top 4 or he's gone at the end of the season stuff. I mean, you're putting that pressure on the manager. You're putting that pressure on the players to keep him in the job. And we don't really want to be putting that pressure on them. You know, we just want to be seeing the changes that we're making, seeing the gradual steps that we're taking, and just kind of go with that, you know?
I think, and again, I'm not saying Arteta is the right man, and it's the same as I say with Ollie. I don't think Ollie is the man to win titles with United. I could be proved wrong. I just don't think tactically he's as strong as some of the other managers in the league or in other leagues. But one thing I think with Arteta and Ollie is they're going to leave Arsenal and Man United in a better position than they found them in, for the next manager to come in and take it really by the reins and take both clubs to the next level. It might sound mad, you lot hearing me talk about Man United in this way, because after Spurs, they are our biggest rivals. But there's an element of respect for Man United. I just love football in general, but I do miss the old days of Man United and Arsenal battling. They were the best times in football for me. And I would love for it to get to a point where we are fighting for a title again amongst us. Even if you've got Liverpool and City in there or whatever it is, I do miss that element of rival with United. And no one, as much as it's beautiful to see when another team's struggling, at the same time, they're Man United as well. Do you know what I mean? So they're gonna rise back up. Like, they're not gonna. Do you know what I mean? They've had a couple of bad seasons, but they're on the right verge. And again, it ties in with what Arsenal were doing, where they had the model of signing the big players. And if you've seen don't get me wrong, Sancho's a big player, but look at the age. He's English. He's probably going to move here now, and this is probably going to be his home for 5 to 10 years. So if you look at what they're trying to build, they're now changing the philosophy, signing a few more English-based players or English-born players, younger players they're bringing in as well. So their philosophy is changing slightly, and I think Arsenal are kind of looking at that route as well and thinking we need to, like you said, you can't just keep fixing it with one player solutions. The whole thing with Arteta and his management, I'm not against it, because actually I do feel these players have probably got away far too much for too long.
And
Also,
yeah,
we've all
I think
been in jobs where a new manager comes in and he cracks the whip straight away. This is what the standard is. This is the standard. This is the standard. You don't break this, blah, blah, blah. And they come in firm, and later on they may relax a bit. But actually, you need to start your stall out how you need to carry on. So dropping Aubameyang for that game against Tottenham, we dropped Aubameyang for when he was late. I think he had every right to do that, because what is that showing the other players if Aubameyang strolls up late again? Like, sometimes you've got to make an example of people. It weren't nice on Aubameyang, but it's like he's there going to react how he's either going to rise to it and not let it happen again and show that he is the captain and the leader, or he's going to down tools. And actually that tells me more about him than it does Arteta. And I'm all for that style of management. Do you know what I mean? I think some of our players had it too easy for too long. So I'm with him.
Yeah, and look, it's going to take some time, but moving on to the next story that I wanted to speak about briefly before we call time. Runarsson. I feel a bit sorry for him, but it's looking like a move away to Altayspor in Turkey is close to being finalized. Could either be a loan or a permanent deal, or loan with an obligation to buy. I'm not really sure. I mean, I personally, my own thoughts, just to throw in my 2 cents very quickly, I personally think he was thrown in at the wrong time. The Europa League games that he was getting, I think he basically needed that just to kind of, build himself up. And then all of a sudden you put him in a cup game against Man City and you say to yourself, it's a cup game, he deserves to play. But you don't take into context the fact that City don't really rest. Yeah,
but even as that, they've got 2 11s, which are better than most 11s in the league. So
the thing is, look at the team that they played. It was like mostly, by and large, the first team that they were still playing.
They go for every cup.
And you were part of the coaching setup of that team, and that that's their culture. Look, I'm not Arteta out, but this is one of the mistakes he made. And I think we've judged him very early in his career, based on that game. There were some of the Europa League games where there were some shaky moments, but look, the guy's in a new country, playing for a new club, coming, in COVID environments, like with all kinds of mental pressures and stress that comes with, you can't just, I just think the expectations of fans in a wider sense is very unrealistic. But look, we're moving him on. It's looking like we're looking at other goalkeeper targets. I mean, what would your closing thoughts be on that?
I feel for the kid. He's in a very difficult. It's a bit like Leno. They can't win. They couldn't win last season because Emi Martinez was a fan favorite. We sold him on and brought in Runarsson. So straight away, they're under the spotlight. Straight away, regardless what they do, it's never going to be better than Emi Martinez. So they can't actually win in that scenario. Agreed. He, do you know what I mean? Had a difficult time, but bigger picture again. I know sometimes I look at things different or a bit deeper. We learned from it. So yes, it cost us a League Cup game, which we probably wouldn't have won even if Leno was in goal. Because I think, was it 4-1? Yes, Runarsson made 2 mistakes, but it's 4-1. City probably were going to beat us in that game regardless. So actually what we learned from it is Runarsson's not ready. And do you know what I saw from Arteta? He didn't play him again. Or he might have played the UEFA Cup game once we qualified, but he didn't rest on his laurels. He then went and got Matt Ryan in January. So actually, when I'm looking at things, I'm thinking, right, they've made a mistake. He got recommended to Arteta. Arteta took him as a number 2. We've played him. He wasn't good enough. We didn't just say, right, keep him there. Because Arsenal, years gone by, I think definitely under Wenger, we keep Runarsson as our number 2 for the whole season. Now, if Leno gets injured, now we're relying on this kid or this adult kid, whatever he is. Whereas Arteta realised he wasn't good enough, and in becomes Matt Ryan on loan for the rest of the season. So sometimes everyone's going to make mistakes with signing players. It's not just Arsenal. Everyone's going to make mistakes with releasing players. It's not just Arsenal. But actually, it's finding your mistakes early and rectifying it. We rectified it quickly. By the end, halfway through the season, we brought a new keeper in, and actually, it looks like he might be going now, which is going to be best for all parties. And that goes for Willian as well. Yes, we brought him. Yes, it didn't work. We're looking to get rid. We're not. Years gone by, we've all been there. We've all seen players we know are not good enough for Arsenal. And they end up, Carl Jenkinson, for instance, has, 7 years at Arsenal, something crazy? Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks like we're not making these mistakes. So if a player's not good enough, fair enough. And off they go. Yeah, look at United signing like Lee Grant. And do you know what I mean? Having these keepers there. And they're probably their best keeper, Romero, they've let go. Like, so all teams make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, I think what I like about how Arsenal are doing, reacting, is we're reacting quickly. And actually, if someone's not good enough, a bit like Mkhitaryan, didn't hit it off at Arsenal. All right, just off you go. Do you know what I mean? Get him off the books, get him out. Do you know what I mean? I'd much rather us take a chance on a player, it doesn't work, and we move quickly rather than just dilly-dallying like we have done for years and just having these players. Look how long we've had, like the Senderoses, the Giroux, Armand Traore. There's Troy. There's been loads of Jenkinson. Like, there's no reason. You know what I mean? It looks different at the moment what we're doing. We're moving a bit quicker and a bit more ruthless, which has been needed for a long time. So, as I said, it is what it is with him. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's part of I think it's a step in the right direction. I think all in all, just to kind of go through the comments, you could make a combined 11 of players that should never have played for Arsenal and United.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
That is kind of the parallel of, I think that Arsenal and United have. I think there really has been poor recruitment practices. For someone that works in recruitment as a recruitment consultant, I think, another thing that was discussed on Jess's stream, is culture. I think, a player can have talent, but you've got to look at cultural fit, alignment, how they're going to assimilate. Are they going to be able to acclimatize to the league and the expectations of the manager and the fans? I think we're starting to look at these things in a broader context as well, who we're looking at in the backroom staff. I just wanted to touch on this quickly. I think Auer would be a great signing, if we can pull that off. I've heard that he's holding out for a club with Europe or Champions League football. That might be where we fall by the wayside, but I'm not seeing a great level of interest in him. Guys, we are going to wrap up quickly, but just to go through a few of these. Philo Bearden, what's going on? Closing thoughts real quick on the takeover. I still think it's not gone away. I just think, it's just something that's going to be protracted. I think he's eventually going to breach a £3 billion pounds, kind of offer. That's what he's going to have to do to even get these guys at the table. They might not sell, but look, at the end of the day, it's a step in the right direction because it's forcing the hand of these owners. No doubt, this transfer talk is exactly what it's doing. It's making them open up the revenue coffers for Arsenal to invest in the squad, get it where it needs to be. So it's a win-win either way, whether we get taken over or not, in my eyes. The next Stud Shop show, I'll have a word this time. Combined 11 of Arsenal rejects and
United's.
That will be something.
That would be hilarious.
But guys, listen, it's been good to have you on.
Nice.
And don't forget to smash the likes, subscribe to the Armoury TV, to FTB Sports, all of our affiliate channels. Shout out to
Road,
United Agenda. Obviously the Liverpool crew doing their thing as well. I will be back. I want to say tomorrow, but it's coming home, and I've already kind of organised being out for that.
Let me know. So, I'll be you. Actually, no, I've got coaching tomorrow. No, I won't. I'm lying. No, I'm not there tomorrow.
We'll have to see how that works. I'm yet to have done a game in a proper kind of pub kind of atmosphere. So I'm definitely doing that tomorrow. So thank you everyone for tuning in.
Hold on, just quickly, Gunslingers is going to be on Thursday this week just because of the United Arsenal England game. So Gunslingers is going to be on Thursday, so make sure you get down and check that one out. It should be good fun again as always. Thank you for you guys in the comments. It's been really good comments. It's been a nice chilled show today. I've liked it. It's been therapeutic. So
but we'll be back. Gunslingers on Thursday. I'm going to see what I'm going to do about King's Court tomorrow. I mean, I could do it from a bar, but can't really attest to the sobriety levels that I'm going to be having at that time. So maybe we might push that as well and just have a bumper edition of stories to discuss on Thursday. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We move and hopefully we smash Denmark tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's coming home. Peace out, guys.